Good morning and welcome to the Sports Debate Podcast. I'm BA, followed here by James J. Trey Martin, and of course, as always, Jack Hurst. How you fellas doing this morning?
Hey,
I hope fine.
That music will get you woke up in the morning for sure. It gets you
I don't know what that
really
does
well.
to Jack. I never asked if Jack actually liked that music. But
No, I like the music. I like the intro. You do a good job on that. Yeah.
Well, thank
I
you.
should have praised you earlier for that.
All right. Well, thank you. I wasn't looking for praise. I was just wondering what your opinion was. Anyway, getting to
All right.
the debate.
Before you start, I know we just a few seconds. Jack, what does your shirt say?
New York Knicks, their championship team. Ironically, I bought this outside of the Barclays Center, the home of the Brooklyn Nets. And the Brooklyn Net owner was complaining a bit the other day that he's ticked off. Their fan base is ticked off, with the Knicks' success, that they wanted this and that. But the Nets are so far away from the Knicks. They're not rivals. They're not rivals in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they're the thought.
I'm a Nets fan, and they're just not rivals. The only thing that worries me a little bit, if the Nets start becoming really good, ticket prices are going to go up. Net tickets are affordable. Knick tickets are not really affordable, but net tickets are affordable for the average person. I mean,
which would you rather? Cheap tickets and losing, or expensive tickets and
no,
winning?
I like the cheap. No, I'm okay with net games. I mean, it depends who they're playing. I mean,
I'm just saying if they become a perennial championship team, and you got to pay for expensive tickets, you're going to be happy with that.
They'll never be as big as the Knicks in New York, I don't think. Regardless. I mean, because the Knicks have that built-in fan base for years and years, and the Nets kind of, even though they've been around from the ABA days, they kind of kicked around like the Long Island Nets, and then they moved to New Jersey and, Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, etc. Now they're at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, but it just takes one star player to maybe turn the culture around.
Yeah, I mean, the Nets are kind of regarded like the Clippers are in LA, so
yeah, good point, great point. Will the Clippers ever overtake the Lakers in LA? And listen, had they gotten over the top with Kawhi Leonard, he's still there. But, with James Harden, etc., Paul George, I mean, maybe that would have changed the equation in LA. But when LA got LeBron and now Luka, one star player changes the mindset of the fan base.
That's like asking if the Houston Texans are going to supplant the Dallas Cowboys. That's just not going to happen. I mean, the Lakers they just sold for $12.5 billion.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's just something that's there. Well, since we are talking about basketball, we might as well segue into the first question of basketball for our debate today. And that is, does Klay Thompson going to the Miami Heat give them a big three that can match up with any other team in the NBA? Let's see. Let's go to Jack on this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. There's going to be excitement in Miami. Miami failed to bring LeBron back. So this is about the next best thing. And there's more excitement there also because obviously they got Giannis, still one of the best players in the NBA. But something was missing. I mean, they can view a championship in the sense that the Miami Heat can see the finish line from a distance, but they want to get close enough to the finish line where they could take that final sprint against the other teams to get to the finish line first. And they're just not in contact. They may be like with 100 yards to go, they're like 10, 12 yards behind. They're not going to make that time up, with the other runners / teams who are getting to the finish line. Now, if Klay Thompson was in his prime, that would be a different matter. He would give them that outside threat, that spot-on shooter, that big scorer, and he can still deliver on a given night. Don't misunderstand me, but I've seen this rodeo before. Like we were talking a little while ago about the Brooklyn Nets. And the rodeo I saw before was Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. They came to the Brooklyn Nets. They were still good players. And on a given night, they could be as good as they ever were on a given night, but they weren't that way anymore day in, day out, game in, game out. So, maybe before we know, Klay Thompson in his debut, he's going to score 41 points, and the Heat are going to win. Everyone in Miami is going to get excited. And the next night, he's going to score 12 points on 3 for 17 shooting. It's what he is now. It's really what he is. The name recognition is good. Look, with Giannis and Bam Adebayo, that's a very nice 1-2 punch, even though I don't consider Bam one of the best players in the NBA. James might disagree with that. I can't quite put him up there with the very best. But Bam, he had that one big night, 83 points, had a ridiculous night. And Giannis is going to be Giannis. He's an impact star. He hasn't lost that. He's going to be great for the Heat. No, they just don't match the big three of certain other teams. Like you look at the Sixers, for example. Are they really matching the big three? The big three of Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey? I don't think so. There's some other big threes I could elevate, maybe ahead of Miami here, maybe a few other teams. And not quite. If Klay Thompson was in his prime, the answer would be yes, but he's not in his prime, so they fall a little short of that.
So I'm going to have to rephrase this question slightly because he's not going to be a part of a big three. He's not going to be, he's likely going, he's fighting for a 5th spot as a starter. And he may be coming off the bench because you have Tim Hardaway there. That's who's battling the job for him. Andrew Wiggins is already the big three right there. Andrew Wiggins scored 14 points as a starter. So he's a small forward that's probably and younger and probably a better defender at this stage of Klay Thompson's career right now. He's probably a better defender than him. So it's likely that he's going to be the big three with those two guys. And Giannis coming in is going to change things for the team. But making an argument whether or not Klay Thompson will be a benefit to this team, I think yes. I think a huge benefit because he probably played out of his element the last couple of seasons when he was in Dallas. Mind you, he had 2 major injuries. He had an ACL and he had an Achilles. And of course, he's aged a little bit. So that's what got him out of they wanted to keep him in Golden State, but he didn't like the price. He wanted more money. He felt disrespected. They thought his value would be at a certain, which to be fair to the Warriors organization, I agree with them. The play did decline. That being said, he still can bring some value to something. He had his lowest shooting percentage at 39.3 with 11.7 points
James,
per game.
you're going off track.
I'm getting to a point. I'm getting to a point. He got low. The scoring was lower, but he obviously wasn't. He's not the same player to be able to be one of the Splash Brothers like he used to. He's not that same player. But if he can spot shoot, if he can just be that guy to be able to spot shoot, I think his percentage will go up. I think his percentages will go up. If he's somebody coming off the bench and he's not going to be that same two-way player he was defensively. That's not what I'm looking for. But to give you that Splash Brother acts night in and night out, I think as a bench player or maybe as the 5th player that to throw him the ball when the attention is probably going to go to Giannis. It's probably going to go to Bam. It's probably going to go to Andrew Wiggins. He'll be the guy that you can dish the ball out. He'll be wide open and he can hit those threes. Will he be able to do that night in and night out to go up against, like you say, Philadelphia, against New York, against some other teams that might be in the East? I think so in that limited role, in that particular role. I think that might give Miami an edge on some of those teams to make them a little bit better. And I have to disagree with you regarding Bam Adebayo. I just think that's going to both those two bigs on the floor at the same time is going to be tough defensively for other teams. I mean, first of all, they're going to be great defenders.
I'm talking about Bam individually.
They can score.
I'm not talking about how they might work together, him and Giannis. I'm talking about as an individual
He
talent.
scored 81 points as an individual talent. So I don't, whether people want to make light of that or anything like that, I don't care. He still scored 81 points. It is what it is. That's hard to, I mean, or 80, 83, 84. He beat 83. Yeah. And he beat the record. So of Kobe's. So I just think it's just, they're going to be a little bit better than people anticipate. I think Giannis will have some help with him now. And I think will they get to the championship? I don't know. But will they be? Will they be? I mean, your question. They didn't say anything about being. You said can they match up? You didn't say about the winning championship.
If you're okay, I'm going to give you an example. If you're taking someone, an out-of-town friend, to a NBA game, and the visiting team you're seeing, the Miami Heat. The big three you're thinking about are Giannis, Bam, and Klay Thompson.
I can't do that. I can't do that because he's probably not going to be there. He's not going to be there start. Maybe I should have brought. No, I should. He's not going to be. Now, a big three has to have a starter, though. You have to be a starter to be a big three.
But you mentioned before Klay Thompson, when he left Golden State to go to Dallas, his mindset probably was he could be the same player he was at Golden State, the same exact play, and he's going to show him at Dallas. It didn't work out at Dallas for whatever reasons, injury, and just the team setup, the chemistry, the whole bit. I get all that. You're 100% correct. Now he's going to Miami. He's going to be given maybe a bit of a different role originally. But if he shows he has a lot more left than maybe people think, he's going to slide right into an impact starting role. That role is not going to be permanent, what they're giving him. That's probably just to ease him in to see what he has left.
I just don't see that happening, man. I don't see him coming in. But I do think that he can come in as a role player and help this team out. I just think he has something left in that regard, and I think that he can help this team out. Again, Andrew Wiggins is. If the question was revised, I probably should have said something. But Andrew Wiggins is probably the third billing for that team between those two players and Andrew Wiggins. Those are the top three. There's nobody unless LeBron would have went to Miami. Andrew is the next step. That's it.
Well,
they're looking at him.
I can make the argument. Notice when I made the argument before, I mentioned Philadelphia. I didn't even mention LeBron in the top three. But of course, LeBron, when all is said and done, could easily be made top three, and I could take out Maxey, for example, and slide LeBron in.
Yeah, but I would agree with you that he's not top. LeBron's not top three on that team.
Yeah.
I would agree with you that he's not there, but he doesn't have to be. That's the thing. I think in order for them to be effective, I just think that Klay doesn't have to be a top three either on this team in order for them to be effective.
LeBron is going to run the offense when he's on the floor. He's going to run the offense. He's going to be the captain on the floor, and the team has the ball. And that's not going to be the case in Miami with Klay Thompson. He's not going to run the offense.
Right. The best thing about Klay Thompson was his ability to shoot and his ability to play defense. The latter part is not as good anymore, again, but the shooting is still there. I mean, you can still shoot. So I think at a best role for him would be to curtail the expectations and what he's supposed to do there. Allow the other guys play perimeter defense, but put him in spot duty to come in and shoot the ball. The best. That's pretty much when he show that splash brother ability and come in and shoot when needed. But I mean, I still, again, at that capacity, I think they still can match up with other teams with him on the team, even if he's the fifth option, the fourth or fifth option.
Question: Did he get paid bench money?
Yeah, 2-year, $13 million.
That's bench money.
Yeah, the NBA it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is bench money.
I think that adding him, he's really not going to have a problem. I think he's going to adapt really well to this team because I'm not saying it's going to move him any higher up. It might meet him a scooch higher on the meter, but he's going to adapt to this team because they play defense. They have two big names that are up there with Giannis and Bam. And even with Wiggins in the lineup, that's enough right there to keep him relaxed, so he doesn't think he has to win a game. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular on that team to do it. He's going to push that team just because of that, because he's not going to have a role where he's going to be dependent upon to do anything. And I think that's the best place for him to go. I think that was a really good move by Klay Thompson to accept that offer to go there. Whether he starts or is on a bench player doesn't make a difference. I think that's what's going to make the team just a smidge better. That's how I see it.
Okay.
All right. So staying with the NBA. Is Kevin Garnett's legacy more as a Timberwolves player or as a Celtics player? Go ahead, James.
So I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. I'm going to say the Timberwolves. I understand that he won a championship with the Celtics. I understand he won Defensive Player of the Year with the Celtics. But if you look at the teams that he played with two Hall of Famers when he played with the Celtics. I can only say that, I mean, you know, he had an older Sam Cassell. He had a young
Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury. He didn't have him long, and he also had Latrell Sprewell. You know, but for the most part, it was him when he was in Minnesota. I mean, and it built up. They kept building up, and when they got to the pinnacle, when he got his MVP in 03 to 04, they got to the Western Conference Finals. They just met a Lakers team that was still pretty dominant at that time. Obviously, the Lakers lost to your Pistons that finals, but they lost 4-2, and so you can see where. And Sam Cassell got hurt. He hurt his back during that time. But other than that, man, Kevin Garnett. I mean, he succeeded by having the franchise winning the season with 58 wins. Again, got an MVP, and he scored his highest total points in that time during that time. And again, homegrown. So I think the legacy for him is probably going to be with Minnesota, because again, he had a big three along with Allen and Pierce, and plus one, Rajon Rondo. So I mean, you know, that was a dominating team, and they barely won that. You know, they took them 7 games to win that championship. So, and I think that was the big thing with them when they were going to the playoffs. They were winning their home games, but they were losing away games. And so it's just, you know, again, I thought the legacy in Minnesota is far better as what he is as an individual player than as a team. His own personal legacy was being where I mean, he's accepted in both, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he's the big ticket. But I like the big ticket when he was in Minnesota. A lot better.
You know, this isn't about fairness, James. I mean, the question's about legacy. It's about perception. It's not about what's right. It's not about what's wrong. It's about perception. What jumps out at you? What
I just gave you my perception of him.
No, you're trying to you're analyzing and trying to do what's right. You want justice. You want to write a correct decision. But legacy is about perception. That's what happens I mean, it's all the time. It's about perception. I mean, no one's saying the perception of the Buffalo Bills is they've lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. The perception, we know they had a great team. They had great teams. But when you hear about the Buffalo Bills, people don't think about, wow, they had great teams. They had Jim Kelly. They had Andre Reed. They had Bruce Smith. They had, you know, Talley, et cetera, Thurman Thomas, and on and on. They think the Buffalo Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. It's unfortunate. That's just the way it is. And with Kevin Garnett, the perception is the Boston Celtics. He won a championship there. They just had a big documentary on HBO on the Boston Celtics, like a series or something. And Garnett was featured. No one's having documentaries on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, in Minnesota, he's looked at warmly, obviously, but is he iconic in Minnesota? No one's iconic with the Minnesota Timberwolves in reality. Of all the former players, okay, maybe he's the most popular one, perhaps.
Okay.
But
Yes.
he's not iconic. He's not iconic as iconic in Minnesota as he would be in Boston. Paul, it's just the perception is from the outside too. Outside of Boston and outside of Minnesota, when NBA fans, they're fully aware of his 14 seasons with the Timberwolves. He had a great career with the Timberwolves. People are very much aware of that. No one's forgetting that. Believe me, no one. But Kevin Garnett is thought of as being a Boston Celtic, much as Reggie Jackson, who had 5 seasons with the New York Yankees and 9 with the Oakland Athletics. He had 3 championships, World Series championships. Reggie Jackson is an Oakland Athletic, 2 as a Yankee, 9 seasons with the Athletics and 5 with the Yankees. But he went into the Hall of Fame as a Yankee because we think of him as being a Yankee because he had that one great game in the World Series. It's all about perception. And the perception more so with Garnett is that he's a Boston Celtic a little more than a Minnesota Timberwolf.
I agree with Danny here. I just got to think his talent was far better perceived as a player in Minnesota. It just, I watched Kevin Garnett come in.
Point. You and Danny are both missing the point.
We're missing your point. I think a lot of people don't agree with your point.
What is he? Which team is he linked to more? Not which one he played better for necessarily. Not which one he played longer for. What does the average fan look at him as? They think of him with Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, that Boston Celtic connection, more than they do as a Minnesota Timberwolf.
Totally. I just think that a lot of people think that Garnett, during his early years that watched basketball, loved Garnett as a Minnesota Timberwolf. Just like LeBron James. People don't think about him when they won with the Heat. They think about when he went back to Cleveland and won when he was the championship champion there.
Well, so, yeah.
But he won more chips in Miami, and he went to more in Miami. But they think about him as a Cleveland Cavalier. Just the legacy is where you start most times, especially if you had great seasons there.
Legacies aren't fair. Legacies aren't fair. I'm not saying what's fair and what's right and what's wrong. If you're asking me, I would put him in the Timberwolf category, but not for me personally. But his legacy, how he's looked at from the outside, I think he's looked at more as a Celtic than a Timberwolf. But let's hear what Brian has to say.
Oh, I got a question before we do that. When did he go into the Hall of Fame yet?
Well, NBA players don't go in on the particular team like other.
They don't. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So
he doesn't make that decision.
Gotcha.
Oh, so he doesn't make the decision where he wants to go to be.
No. They just go. He already got inducted, and he just.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Just went in. You just go in. You don't pick a team, fortunately. In a way, that's good. I kind of like that.
Fair enough.
I think that. Oh yeah. So they put both bodies of work that he was in. That they just don't.
Yeah. I mean, that's any player. You don't go in as a particular member of a team. You just go in.
I feel that if he was the one that was making that pick, I would think that he would pick Minnesota because of the fan base. The fans adored him. Okay, he was the guy out there. Now, on that separate maneuver, though, Minnesota in the front office did not get along with Kevin Garnett near the end of his tenure there. And he got very pissed off at them about some of the things that they were doing. He did not like it, and that's the reason why he went to the Celtics. Because I'm sure if things were different with them, he would have stayed a lifelong Timberwolf fan or player. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I would say that he would, if he had to choose between the two teams, yeah, you would love to take your championship, but at the same time, you spent all this time, and you're, like James said, you're homegrown, and all the fans loved you. I mean, there's still people that wear Garnett jerseys at Timberwolf games now, and he's been retired for how long? I mean, the dude is legendary there. So you would assume that he would want to go back to, if he was going to be represented by a team, Minnesota would be the team. I don't think that the Celtics had the glorious season, okay, but sometimes legacy extends more than championships do in this case, and I think this is where his heart would want to go to, is Minnesota. So I think Minnesota is basically, I would say that.
But what he perceived as, again, not what he's even picking, not even what Kevin Garnett is choosing, could answer the question. I mean, I don't think there's any answer to the question. It's all opinion, how he's perceived his legacy.
Yeah, that's what happened with Rick. They offered the ownership and it was recanted to him, and he didn't like that at all, because it's kind of like, what I kind of compare a little bit of Kevin Garnett to, and forgive me, but Matt Stafford. He spent 12 years here.
Yeah, great comparison.
And he is probably the best quarterback the Lions have had up, in that time frame. And then he goes to LA and he wins the Super Bowl. Now, yes, this is in his fifth year with the Rams now.
Yeah,
it should be his sixth year, actually. It should be 6th year with the Rams. So what do you think do you think his mentality would be the same? Do you think that
it's not his mentality, Brian. It's what do we look at Matthew Stafford as? You're biased, obviously, being a Lion fan. James, what do you look at Matthew Stafford as? If he plays a couple of more years with the Rams, are you going to look at him when he retires as more of a Ram quarterback, a Lion quarterback? It's easy.
If he were to win another championship, it's hard to discount all the hard blood, sweat, and tears that he had in Detroit.
I agree. It's not fair. Legacies are not fair.
Look at it like this.
It's not about justice.
Look at it like this. Kevin Garnett went to Boston Celtics and won a championship, right? How did he get there? Through the legacy he built in Minnesota. Through all that hard work he did in Minnesota. The same thing Stafford did.
No, that has nothing to do with it. Get out of here, Brian.
Yes, it does have a whole bunch to do with it. What you talking about? Why would? Okay, let me ask you something. Stafford was traded for Goff. Okay, Goff was on they would say was on a Super Bowl team, which I didn't until they added people. They were a Super Bowl team when Stafford got there. But anyway, Stafford got there, won the Super Bowl. Now, why would they trade for Stafford? There's a reason why that McVay traded for Stafford, because of his legacy that he had in Detroit, because he is a good football player, and he's probably one of the top 10 all-time quarterback. He's a good player.
That's why they traded for him, not for the legacy.
Yeah, it was. You got to have a base of a resume. I'll put it this way. He had a resume. He had a resume, Jack.
Of course, everyone has a resume.
So you ain't gonna pick somebody out of there because they have a legacy necessarily, but you're gonna pick them on a resume. He didn't go to the Celtics because it was a
perception. It's not about what's right or wrong. It's not about even our opinions per se. Who is better? It's how we look at things. Bill Buckner. The perception was the missed ground ball in the World Series, even though he had a great career. That's what we thought about Bill Buckner. Unfortunately, it popped through our heads as much as we wanted to discount it.
But Danny's got another good point. Freeman with the Braves and went to the Dodgers and won 2 World Series. I mean, it's the same thing. Is he going to go back as a Brave, though, or is he going to go back as a Dodger because he won 2 championships?
And he's going to have more years as a Brave when he retires. He had 12 years with Atlanta. He's on his 4th year with the Dodgers. Let's say he plays 7-8 years and then retires as a Dodger, but wins 1 more World Series. He's probably going to go in as a Dodger.
I don't know about that.
I'm not
I mean-
sure.
I mean, I would give you the benefit of the doubt if those perceived athletes won more championships with the team that they're currently with, that might be a little bit harder.
That's what I'm saying with the Matthew Stafford. That's the only way I say if he won another championship, it might be tough.
Might choose the Rams, yeah.
Well, listen. To make your point, both of you, Gary Carter won a world championship with the 1986 New York Mets. Iconic Met player. He went in as a Montreal Expo, and they never got to the World Series because he had more time as an Expo. So he got in that way. So. But we look at Gary Carter, it's a little more of being a Met than in Montreal Expo.
I mean, that's true, Rick.
Tarkenton, I think of Tarkenton as a Viking quarterback. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I mean, he's been, what did you go for? 4 Super Bowls with the Vikings in that time frame? So, I mean,
I think 3 of them.
Rick.
It may have been 3 of them.
He was 3.
But still.
Either way, he was there, right?
Yeah.
They were on his
back
with
the Giants. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I guess we can come to the conclusion that I believe right now, because his career is stopped, meaning Garnett's, that I would say he would go back to Minnesota because of the fan base that he has there. If that was his choice. Now I know we got the NBA.
Perhaps that's a good point. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So I mean. I just think that he would go back to Minnesota. But anyway, regardless of that. All right, let's talk some football. Okay. Who is the best backup quarterback in the NFL? This ought to be real good. I'm going to go with you, Jack. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you're going with me first because I'm going to have to explain to James the ground rules. He's going to twist things around, Before you know it, he's going to have Josh Allen backing up something. I don't know. But a backup is this, okay?
I know what a backup is, sir. I know what a backup is.
Who is entrenched as a backup?
Yes.
That it's etched in stone pretty much that he's going to be a backup. Not a temporary backup for the time being that you want to play it to get experience for a few games, hold a clipboard that you know he's going to
I already know. We had this discussion before. So I'm there.
Okay, good. Then if you want to, you could say as a backup too, you could name a couple of
Jack, please.
Okay, my apologies. Okay, I'm going to get to the point. Okay. We want a capable backup as someone usually who has experience and has something left, something to offer, and he accepts his role. It doesn't mean he can't possibly be a starter in the league again, but he knows that's his role. He's not competing for the starting job. He's all in with the team. I'm going to name one guy that James is very familiar with, and you guys, it might throw you a loop. Jameis Winston, the Giant backup. He's a perfect backup. He's a great team guy, fabulous team individual. He's close with Jackson Dart. He was a Giant backup last year. It should tell you a lot that the new coach, John Harbaugh, is keeping Jameis Winston as the primary backup. It should tell you an awful lot. He did everything he could to help Jackson Dart. And he accepts his role. He's not competing. He wants Jackson Dart to have the best possible success. But if he's forced to play, Jameis Winston is capable. He's still capable of being a good quarterback, franchise quarterback, not quite. But backups are not franchise quarterbacks, not quite. I think he's the perfect guy who you want in that role. Perfect. Couldn't be any better. He hangs out with Jackson Dart. After the game, they go out, they have dinner together, the whole bit. There used to be the perfect backup who I could think of all time was actually Frank Reich, who backed up Jim Kelly. They were buddies. And Reich was good enough to start in certain situations. Okay? So their number backups, I'm not going to go down the whole list, but I think Jameis Winston, a former number 1 overall draft pick, who was the master to pick 6, unfortunately, he's got to control that. Still very capable, I believe. The Giants can win with him at quarterback, even though he's not their preferred long-term guy, which is fine. That's my guy. Ultimate team guy. Still has something left. Jameis Winston.
All of the backup quarterbacks are ultimate team guys. They have no choice. They're on the bench. They better be wearing their headset and looking at the clipboard and calling in plays. I mean, that's their job. They have no choice but to be ultimate team guys. Jameis Winston is a great choice, but I'm going to go with another guy here. I'm not going to go with Jameis Winston because, again, I saw Jameis Winston come in and spell for Cleveland. I remember Deshaun Watson when he got hurt. He played 2 fantastic games, but then the wheels fell off after that. I mean, that game against Pittsburgh when in the snow, when he threw 2 interceptions, like you just said, the wheels fell off and he lost 5 in a row. They won the first 2 and they lost 5. He went 2-5 that year with Cleveland. Coming in here with the Giants, again, they call him 30 for 30 for a reason. And
talk about legacy.
Yes. And I love Jameis Winston, and I just some of those plays are just boneheaded. I mean, he got a cannon of an arm. He can throw a rocket down the field, but sometimes the rocket's direction might be friendly fire, and it was coming back the other way for 6 points. But I'm going to go with Mac Jones, another former first-round draft pick, a Heisman Trophy winner, another former Heisman Trophy winner, a guy that was Rookie of the Year. Did he get Rookie of the Year? I think. Maybe I'm no. Sorry, he had great numbers. He was a Pro Bowler as rookie, and they went to the playoffs.
Shedeur Sanders was a Pro Bowler last year. Give me a break.
But stop. We know what the Pro Bowl is like. Before you even go there, I saw. But Shedeur Sanders' numbers were paled in comparison to Mac Jones' numbers, and I'm not saying Shedeur is not talented. But and I knew the rules you were going to say, so that's why I didn't pick Shedeur Sanders as an option because he might supplant Deshaun Watson.
Would have been an option because Watson is probably starting.
Yes, but I mean I think I view Shedeur Sanders as not knowing the role, as like you said. I think he's eventually going to be a starter.
Right. You're correct. Yes. We don't know for sure who's going to start, and
right.
Shedeur Sanders might be starting 2-3 games into the season, for all we know.
See, Danny, I do know 1 + 1 and what it means. Yes, but that being said, Mac Jones 5-3 as a starter when he came in for.
Danny, that's really.
I don't have a golf game, Danny. I play golf, miniature golf. Yeah, miniature golf.
Yes.
They used to give a free hole-in-one, a free game if you got a hole-in-one on the last hole in the miniature golf course. I got to admit what I used to do. I'd win sometimes, but I'd roll the ball. I wouldn't actually hit it to get it hit.
So yes, Jack, like you roll with some of your answers here in this competition. Yes. When Brock Purdy was hurt, he spelled him for 8 starts, and he got a 5-3 record, 69% passing, 2,151 yards, 7.4 per clip, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 97 rating. That's the kind of guy you want in to run an offense that's capable. I just think that exactly. That's funny. I think that Mac, in the event that Brock gets hurt, he can run the offense, and I think he can run it well, and he can keep that ship running even when they're hurt with other players. Again, I saw it as my Saints last year? I think it was last year when they played Rattler. They did well. He did well, and so yeah, to me that's my number one. I would go with Mac Jones, but James is not a bad answer.
Yeah, I like James too. Winston is he's a very good he's an effective leader. He's like the minister of the offense when he gets out there. He talks a lot of good positive stuff. He even does that when he's getting interviewed. He's a good quarterback. Yeah, 30 to 30.
But the other thing, James's answer was excellent, so I'm not putting it down. But I do want to point this out. Jameis Winston knows going forward, this is going to be his role the rest of his career, being a backup quarterback. Okay. Mac Jones had one more year left on his 49er contract. So he couldn't go anywhere. Okay. And he didn't demand to go anywhere, but he's going to leave the Niners next year when he's a free agent, unless they franchise tag him, which they're not going to do. So he has sights still on being a starter, Mac Jones. He looks at himself as a starter. Jameis Winston doesn't quite look at himself that way. I don't believe anymore.
Well, I'll tell you the quarterback I'm going with. I'm going with Joe Flacco. Flacco has become one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. Hell, Stefanski won a Coach of the Year with him playing. So the dude just keeps producing. He might not have every good. He might not have, and it's pretty good how these teams regulate him as well. It's like he'll go on this winning streak and he'll be really good for 5 games, and then like he'll lose one. Like for instance, the Cleveland, when he was playing for Cleveland, he just totally got destroyed by Houston, and he was just throwing interceptions everywhere. I think he threw 2 pick sixes in that game. I was like, dude, what happened? He just fell totally apart. Well, and you get that with Flacco sometimes, but he's more of a winner as a backup than he is
Mac
a loser.
Jones is better now. I would take Mac Jones over Flacco. Actually, if you ask me who's better at this point, but your answer's better, Brian, because Flacco knows he's Joe Burrow's backup. He's not going to supplant him under any circumstance. And Flacco, I don't think is thinking I'm going to start next year or let me reset and I'm going to start elsewhere. He's just happy, to be playing in the league, still having a job. Like I think Mac Jones's days as a starter might not be over. If he gets in and looks good as a backup this year, Mac Jones, he just might revitalize his career. Maybe he's already revitalized it.
We'll see.
We'll see. We don't know. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I would put this person as a somebody that's an honorable mention, and that's Davis Mills for Houston.
Oh yeah, very good.
He's won a lot of games for them too.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a backup quarterback. Ain't no damn way
he might be starting 7 games into the season or so. If CJ Stroud struggles a lot,
I think the only way
Davis Mills is the backup.
Yeah, he's a career backup for sure, and he'll. The only way he's going to get in a game like that is if CJ Stroud either completely implodes or he gets hurt. That's it. And he did, and like last year, CJ got hurt, and he came in there and he played admirably well. I think he won 4 out of 5 games that he was in. So he's another guy that I would say that's a career backup that's played really well for his team. So, all right, last question of the day. Will Anthony Richardson, speaking of backup quarterbacks, ever be an NFL starting quarterback again? Go ahead, James.
I hate to even answer this because I saw the potential for this kid, and I just thought it was just great. But, there's people in prison with potential. I just don't think that, I mean, for real, you got some, I've done I've visited some, I'm not to even put this out there, but I was a part of a prison ministry before, and I've met some very talented people in prison. And it's just unfortunate, that people are in prison. Obviously some people, they deserve, some of the things that you hear them talk about, they deserve to be in there. But that being said, again, talent. It's just, and I just think that there's a lot of talent with this quarterback, but something is missing there, and it's some of like it's not just the intangibles of whether or not he had enough snaps. I think it's the intangibles of like when he felt like he needed to tap out and come out off the field for something. Who does that in the NFL? Who does that? You need to come out of the game. Why are you tapping out? You're not even hurt. What the heck? This is, man, it's a professional job. Things like that kind of made me look sideways and like, okay. And the fact that he couldn't beat out Daniel Jones in the as quarterback, and it's just like, okay. And because I saw what Daniel Jones was in New York, and Daniel Jones is a talented quarterback, but I think physically Anthony Richardson is a far more talented quarterback than Daniel Jones. But something is not there, and I think part of it is going to be missing. Yeah, that may be it.
Definitely
Rick.
is.
I was trying to be nice about the situation, but I think that may be part of the situation. And so I just don't think. I think he's got a lot of talent there, but being injury prone and not having enough snaps, and just in the league that you are today, you got to come out ready and with guns blazing. And they give you an opportunity to be something, and it didn't work out. He's going to turn out to be a bust. What was he, the 4th overall pick? And yeah, he was the 4th overall pick. He's going to end up being a bust, man. I just think that as being drafted that high, and it's not fair to him. He probably should have been drafted later. He only had 15 starts in college, or he probably shouldn't have played that high. But they drafted him that high, so they wanted him to play. But again, there's flashes there. I just saw more errant stuff as a player, and I think that he'll be better suited as a backup, if he's in the league, unfortunately.
No, it's easy to forget that Anthony Richardson has had some good games. He's had some good games where he shines sometimes. And when you're fourth overall pick in the draft, you're going to be able to hang around the league a long time and eventually revitalize your career. It's all about landing in the right situation at the right time. I mean, look at Geno Smith. He lands with the Jets. He gets an opportunity. Kirk Cousins, who had an excellent NFL career, of course, he lands in the right spot with the Raiders. You mentioned Joe Flacco a little while ago. He landed in the right spot with Cleveland. He just couldn't hold on to the job. Long term, had he played better, Flacco would have, had he continued playing well, I should say, Flacco would have, been on the Cleveland roster today, whatever. But Anthony Richardson is going to hang around the league. Then it's a question of getting an opportunity at some point. That opportunity might even come with Indianapolis. You never know. But he's got to win the backup job first. Indianapolis might cut him. They might trade him. A decision has to come down soon. They said that they're holding on to him. He's got to beat out Riley Leonard for the backup job. I mean, if he's third string, he's not going to see the field at all. And if Daniel Jones goes out, Anthony Richardson comes in, he plays well, his stock is raised where someone else is going to pick him up next year, whatever, if he doesn't stick with Indianapolis. I got to believe Anthony Richardson at some point is going to land in a situation where team is going to take a chance on him temporarily as their starter. They'll have other plans as well. It could be an Atlanta Falcon type situation between Tua and Michael Penix. Imagine Tua wasn't there and the Falcons got Anthony Richardson instead of Tua. Maybe he supplants Penix and would wind up being the starter this year. That's what I mean, that type of a situation. I got to believe some way, somehow, somewhere, something is going to open up temporarily for Anthony Richardson down the line. And then it's up to him whether he cashes in or not. So I'm going to say yes. Yeah, Anthony Richardson. Yeah, just let me finish a sentence, please. He is going to get a chance to be a starter on a team elsewhere, because this is a league that gives the Jacoby Brissett's chances to start, time and again. So if Jacoby Brissett could keep being a starter, Anthony Richardson is going to get one more chance somewhere.
Jacoby Brissett is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson
Doesn't have
as a
his
quarterback.
upside.
Way better.
No, you're right. His ceiling is low, but Jacoby Brissett's floor is high.
He's not a starting. No, it's not. He's not a starting caliber NFL quarterback, Jacoby Brissett.
Tell that to the teams that allowed him to start. He's been a starter before for teams.
And
he's a starter.
Starting job. He might not even last with Carson Beck, a third-round pick right behind them at Arizona.
Who's going to be the starting quarterback coming out of the gate in Arizona?
Jacoby Brissett, but it's only
Okay, thank you.
time this season where Carson Beck is going to take over for him.
But the question you're asking is whether or not Anthony Richardson will be a starter again. He may be a starter, but for how long? My thing is
exactly. I agree with that.
Okay. He may be a starter, but for how long? He's very injury prone, and he has very little experience. And what he does give you, it's very streaky. I think it's more 30%. He shows you his talent, 70%, whatever else that is. It just wasn't good. Just wasn't good. And I mean, again, I'm not saying he's not talented. He is. But Jamarcus Russell was talented.
He's better than Jamarcus Russell.
Huh? Say it again?
Anthony Richardson is better than Jamarcus Russell.
With his legs, Jamarcus Russell had a fantastic arm. He had a fantastic arm, but he was
Richardson has had some good games at least.
Yes, he has. But he's had talent around him too. The receivers in Indianapolis are phenomenal there. I mean, when they were all there, Michael Pittman's gone now, but all the guys that were there is
a quarterback. I don't want to hear he's had talent. Quarterbacks who have talent don't get the job done. J.J. McCarthy at Minnesota had Justin Jefferson. He didn't capitalize with him.
No, fair enough. I'm just saying that he had the talent there. He got a job done sometimes. But most times he did not, Jack. Most times you mentioned he said he had a couple of good games there.
But will he get based on his talent? He still has the talent. Might he get another chance if he starts putting it together a little bit as a backup and shows someone something? I think someone is going to give him like that one last chance because he was drafted so high. He's just got to look good in training camp, wherever he goes to. I think it has to be the right team, the right situation for him to fall into.
To me, he's losing the battle to Riley Leonard, and that's
damaging. If he loses,
that's not good.
Tells you everything.
That's not good.
Let me go back to what Rick Sherlock said about the whole situation. He is missing that. Jamarcus Russell is a very good comparison because both of them were talented. They both one had talented arms, the other one had talented, his
arms and legs. Yeah,
Ryan Lee.
But this was missing. This was missing. When you get that missing, you can't really stay in the league as an NFL quarterback because
you got to be cerebral. You got to be cerebral.
I'm not saying that the intelligence, the football instinct, sometimes a player is so ultra talented, he wants his talent to take over, to start dominating, to do things by force. And that's what Anthony Richardson tries to do, things by force. Look, Jackson Dart, same thing I could say about, like Anthony Richardson. He tries to do things by force. Running with the ball, holding it too long.
He may be out of the league at some point. I mean, who knows? I mean, he just had one season, but yeah, I mean, he got to figure some things out and change some ways. Yeah. But my point is, yes, Anthony Richardson has had what, 3, 4? This is 4th season now. What is this? His 4th season?
Third.
His 3rd. So yeah, I mean,
no, it's more than 3 years. This must be at least his 4th year. I don't think it's.
Well, how long? Well, that was the last. That was the last draft selection that was made.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. What's his face before he passed away? That was his last draft.
Jim Irsay.
Yeah, Irsay.
Okay.
So when was that? Like 3 years ago? What was it, 3 years ago? Wasn't it that he passed away?
I'm not sure.
But anyway, that wasn't any of his daughter's draft pick. That was his daughter. That was his draft pick, and I'm sure that his daughter is struggling to find a way not to be mean to Richardson, but at the same way be fair, because that's why they're trying to say, well, we'll keep him, we'll see what happens. I don't think they have a trade partner. They ain't gotta have a trade partner for this guy, because when you don't have it here, they don't want you, and the NFL team's not going to want you. I don't care how much talent you have. Talent will win you a couple of games, but without this, you're going to lose a whole bunch of.
They're not going to recoup a lot of value back for him when they trade him.
If they trade him,
they still have a tiny bit of doubt. Not a lot of doubt, a little doubt. We picked this guy 4th overall. If we just let him go and he thrives elsewhere, there's always that element of doubt with all teams. That's why with the Vikings, with J.J. McCarthy, they're going to be reluctant to let him go just in case he pans out. If he was a lower round draft choice, you wouldn't care as much.
When he was picked at number 4, I was the most surprised when I saw that happen. I'm a fan of LSU, and I saw him play at Florida, and that wasn't on the talents that he displayed at the combine were not on display at that on consistently at Florida. Again, he only had 15 starts. So the RAS score is what got him number 4 overall, relative athletic score in the combine. The things he was able to do.
That's why I hate the combines.
Jamarcus Russell sat on his butt and threw 40 yards. That's what got him number 1 overall pick.
Combines are good for late round draft selections. Once you get to the 5th, 6th, 7th round, okay, I can kind of study the combines a little. The first few rounds, I'm going on game film, scouts, the whole bit. I'm not the combines. Come on.
I don't know. There may be a contrast to that argument, because now everybody's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. not going to the combine, not doing a pro day.
He can still be good, Marvin Harrison Jr. He needs to change the scenery. A quarterback.
I don't know about scenery. If a quarterback can throw it to Mike Wilson, yes, come on, man.
He would be smart to take a fly on Marvin Harrison Jr.
Fair enough. I mean, taking just the name off the name alone, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe something in his head.
He'll thrive, Marvin Harrison Jr. Might be a couple of years from now, but he'll thrive.
Whatever scout convinced Irsay to take him as a 4th rounder, that dude should go in the Hall of Fame too. Because I'm gonna tell you what, based on what you're saying, Jack, that's exactly what that scout had in his mind. Look, he's an athletic wonder. We got to have him, blah, blah, blah. Not thinking about his brain, where his brain is thinking about the game itself. He was looking at his athletic ability. No. As a quarterback, every position gets analyzed based on what quarterbacks do in games. If you're not a thinker, you're not going to last long in the NFL. And that's the same thing that happened to Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell had all the talent in the world. That's a perfect example in equality to Richardson. At least he started. I got to put it that way. Well, I mean, Richardson started.
No, Jets took Zach Wilson number 2 because he could throw across his body so wonderfully. But how many throws do you have to make across your body during the game? I mean, it's whatever, but I hear where you're coming from.
I mean, the perfect example of that, talking about legacies, the one play that he didn't read a defense, he should have slid the offensive line over to stop the defensive end from coming at him and sacking him. I mean, that was a bang play. A quarterback that has cerebral will see that. He was like, oh, there's a guy that's unguarded on that line. I mean, the dude was by himself, and he looked over there. So you mean to tell me if you're not putting 2 and 2 together, dude, you can't make it in this league with being a quarterback. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. He might be a career backup too. It depends on how this whole competition goes for second string. So,
but don't you dare, Jack, to say that Jacoby Brissett is not a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. That's terrible.
No, I didn't say that. I said
okay, you said upside. Forgive me. The upside.
Caliber NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he's starting right now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real morning. Good debate points. Good job, Jack. Good job, James. It was fun. This was fun. I liked it. Everybody have a good rest of your Saturday. We'll see you next Saturday at 8 a.m. Remember to catch us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the sports podcast, and then Keith's stream of consciousness thereafter. Everybody, till then, so long.